Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar and Shubh Diwali to all of you. Coming up in the next hour. Prime Minister Modi celebrates Diwali aboard INS Vikrant, salutes the armed forces and Atmanirbhar Bharat. Diwali illuminates the world. Global celebrations unite communities in light and joy. Sanae Takaichi is poised to become Japan's first woman prime minister after support from far right-wing opposition party. Soybeans and rare earths at the center of US-China trade clash ahead of crucial Trump-Xi summit in South Korea at the end of October. Amazon Web Services recovering from major outage. The root cause is traced to US East 1 region. AWS outage affects major websites and apps globally. This Diwali, Prime Minister Narendra Modi celebrated with the Indian Navy aboard INS Vikrant. From the vast seas, he saluted the courage of the armed forces and the spirit of self-reliant India. Highlighting India's defense strength and global role, the Prime Minister called Vikrant a symbol of national pride. The Prime Minister extended his heartfelt Diwali wishes to all 140 crore Indians from the deck of the mighty warship.
Continuing with his tradition of celebrating Diwali with the armed forces, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited INS Vikrant off the coast of Goa and Karwar. He celebrated the Festival of Lights with Navy personnel, symbolizing India's strength, unity and self-reliance. Reflecting on his overnight stay aboard the warship, Prime Minister Modi called it an unforgettable experience and extended Diwali wishes to all 1.4 billion Indians.
समुद्र की गहरी रात और सुबह का सूर्योदय मेरी दिवाली कई मायनों में खास बन गई है और इसलिए आपके बीच फिर एक बार दिवाली की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। आपको भी शुभकामनाएं और INS विक्रांत की इस वीर भूमि से कोटि कोटि देशवासियों को भी दीपावली की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। आपके परिवारजनों को दीपावली की बहुत शुभकामनाएं।
Calling it a remarkable moment, the Prime Minister highlighted the powerful symbolism of celebrating Diwali at sea between the vast ocean and the bravery of Indian soldiers. The sunlight on the water, he said, resembled a divine garland of lamps lit by our defenders.
भारतीय नौसेना द्वारा जो भय पैदा किया गया है, भारतीय वायुसेना द्वारा दिखाए गए अद्भुत कौशल ने, भारतीय सेना की जांबाजी ने, तीनों सेनाओं के जबरदस्त समन्वय ने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में पाकिस्तान को इतनी जल्दी घुटने टेकने पर मजबूर कर दिया था।
Praising INS Vikrant as a symbol of Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India, the PM emphasized its role in boosting national security and breaking colonial legacies. He also lauded the Navy's adoption of a new ensign inspired by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. The PM recalled how the coordinated strength of the Army, Navy and the Air Force led to Pakistan's surrender during Operation Sindoor. The very name Vikrant, he said, is enough to unsettle the enemy. On defense self-reliance, Prime Minister Modi said thousands of items are no longer imported, with most key military equipment now made in India. Defense production has tripled in 11 years, crossing 1.5 lakh crore Indian rupees. Since 2014, over 40 indigenous warships and submarines have been delivered, with one being inducted every 40 days on average. Missiles like the BrahMos and Akash have proven their strength during operations, and global demand is rising. Defense exports have grown 30-fold in the past decade, with major contributions from Indian startups and domestic units. Highlighting India's growing role as a global security partner, Prime Minister Modi spoke of maritime missions, humanitarian efforts, and support to global South nations. He recalled swift Indian aid during crises in Maldives, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, and more. Prime Minister Modi also credited the armed forces for nearly eliminating Maoist terrorism. Over 100 districts are now free from extremism, and many regions are celebrating Diwali without fear for the first time in decades. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, as Diwali lights up every corner of the country, from the sacred ghats of Ayodhya to the bustling streets of Mumbai, India celebrates in 1,000 shades of light and devotion. Homes and hearts glow alike, reflecting the unity and joy that define this festival. Let's take you across India, where faith meets festivity and the spirit of Diwali shines brighter than ever.
The night sky sparkles once again as India lights up in a million hues of joy, faith, and festivity. From the bustling markets to homes decked with diyas, Diwali returns, carrying stories of togetherness, tradition, and triumph of light over darkness. As the nation celebrates, let's take you through how India is glowing this festive season with hearts as radiant as the lamps that adorn every corner. Across India, homes and streets glowed with lamps, rangolis, and smiles, each corner reflecting a different hue of celebration. In the holy city of Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh, a sea of diyas illuminated the banks of the Saryu, while Mathura rejoiced with devotional fervor at Sri Krishna Janmabhoomi. Cities like Sitapur and Aligarh added new chapters of light and unity to the state's grand festivities. In Gujarat, over 10,000 lamps lit up the Swami Narayan Akshardham in Gandhinagar, a breathtaking blend of devotion, architecture, and artistry. The banks of the Narmada River in Madhya Pradesh shimmered with countless diyas, casting golden reflections of faith upon the flowing waters. Rajasthan dazzled with color and creativity, from patriotic themes in Udaipur's Operation Sindoor display to Jodhpur's vibrant street celebrations. Down south, Tamil Nadu celebrated with homes and temples glowing in unity, as the fragrance of sweets and flowers filled the festive air. In east, the city of Kolkata blended the radiance of Diwali with the devotion of Kali Puja. Streets lit up with lights and chants, carrying the rhythm of joy and reverence. And in Orissa, Bhubaneswar's Raj Bhavan shimmered in color, while artists in Puri brought the Ramayana alive before the Sri Jagannath temple, fusing art and spirituality. In Mumbai's Bhandup, tradition met community spirit, with rituals, music, and floral tributes to local heritage adding meaning to celebration. From the ghats of Ayodhya to the shores of Chennai, India glows in one spirit of light, unity, and hope, reminding us that darkness fades where hearts shine bright. Nishchay Roy's report for DD India.
And to put the story of Prime Minister Narendra Modi visiting INS Vikrant to celebrate Diwali into perspective, we have with us Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha, retired ex-chief of the Integrated Defence Staff. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. Now, first of all, happy Diwali to you. And, you know, what's the message being sent out by Prime Minister Modi spending Diwali with naval personnel on INS Vikrant? He indicated also that INS Vikrant had sent shockwaves across Pakistan.
Well, Lynn, thank you very much for getting me on your program. And namaskar and happy Diwali to you and all your millions of viewers of this television program. It's a very big message, Lin, because his focus has been on Atmanirbhar, meaning that we want to make everything ourselves, particularly in the defense, what we are going to use. And we are also going to send it to other countries, friendly countries, or on export. So these two things, Vikrant is the first Indian-built aircraft carrier in India, in Indian shipyard, and on that aircraft carrier, there were Indian pilots who were flying the MiG-29, the Navy pilot, and they were naval soldiers. So it is a very firm. He also reminded of Sindhu.
Yes.
And what Vikrant did by blocking the way of Karachi, stopping the entry of any of the ships which were carrying the spare parts and ammunition for the Pakistanis, maybe from China and Turkey, they had to return back. And the entire Pakistani fleet was bottled. There was not one ship which you could have seen outside. So this is a very big message. And then he talked about BrahMos. And it is not by chance, that 2 days prior
Yes.
in Lucknow, the BrahMos missile was, the assembly line was sort of inaugurated. And the first missile actually got a green light from there. So these, if you put them all together, Lynn, it's a message to the world, particularly to our Western neighbor, that don't mess around with us. You can keep making whatever statement you make, but mind you, we are here and we will continue to be here. That's number one. Secondly, the export of our defense equipment to our friendly countries, over a period of 10 years, it has gone 3-4 times. And
Yes.
it is some 4,500, now we are looking at some 20 to 23,000 crores. So this is a very big development because, this is linked to the economy. The government has realized that we don't produce many things, we don't export many things. And therefore, on the high end, it is a defense item manufactured here and they are sold. They are the ones which will fetch money and add to our economy, to our GDP. So, entire focus of the Prime Minister and this government has been on this. Now, maritime, just one more line, that because Prime Minister Modi belongs to a maritime state, his understanding of maritime, his understanding of maritime trade and its security, I think is far, far better than any Prime Minister that I have seen.
Indeed. And you talk about maritime. How does it reflect India's, maritime priorities in the Indo-Pacific amid, let's say, China's naval assertiveness?
Well, at the moment, the power that we have, the combat power of the Navy for security in the Indian Ocean, and as the Prime Minister mentioned, that every 40 days, either a ship or a submarine will be rolling out for next 3-4 years. No, that's a fat lot. We have almost caught up with the Chinese rate of production.
Right.
So, at the moment, the Chinese fleet is not capable of entering into the Indian Ocean because they do not have the air defense. Air defense meaning an aircraft carrier which can provide air cover to their fleet all the time. And that is one big problem. And second thing is, even if they make a base here and operate from there, Lynn, you're far from home. And it makes a lot of difference because those bases become a target for a country like India. So I would think that at the moment and at this production rate, I think we will remain a very big challenge for the Chinese. The problem is not that. The problem is bigger.
Right.
The entire energy line of China is actually almost 75 to 80% is running through Indian Ocean. So they are vulnerable. People say that, a lot of pipelines have been put, but our assessment is, till about 1950, 2050, more than 53% of the Chinese oil will still traverse on the Indian Ocean and they'll be vulnerable to Indian and US interdiction.
Now, talking about self-reliance in defense, clearly the Navy seems to have taken, the lead because largely most of our, infrastructure or naval assets, quite a large number of them are basically, it's a builder's Navy. It's not a buyer's Navy, isn't it?
Absolutely. We started long back. I must say that our admirals had a lot of far thinking because at that time the government was not able to buy so many ships. And they decided that no, we'll have to start making our ships in our own country. They went to the government and they said all the shipyard PSU the CMD should be a naval guy. So naval admirals have been running these shipyards for so many years so that they understand what the Navy's requirement is. And we have had our own design bureau. And the effort on designing and buying design was very expensive. So we had a naval ship design bureau, which is now working overtime, designing submarine, designing nuclear submarine, designing destroyer, frigate, all kinds of ships it is making. So I think that Navy had taken a leap, except for some weapon systems which are going to be again fully indigenous shortly, and the engine. Engine is a problem. Diesel engine we make. The jet engine, as you know, the Safran is going to make a jet engine for the aircraft, and the Kaveri engine is now being thought about putting it in the ships. So I think we are there. It's work in progress, and I think by 2030, once the jet engine is built here, Lynn, I'm telling you, you will see the rate at which the defense production moves very fast.
And Admiral Sinha, Diwali is the biggest cultural festival in India. So does this also showcase India's soft power, that's culture, with the military hard power?
Oh, very right. In fact, I personally believe the soft power is not effective unless it is backed with sufficient hard power. Though a lot of people don't agree to this, but I believe that hard power must be there for your soft power to be effective. If it was not so, then why was India's soft power, which was so strong, was not working with its own neighbors? And now it is working. Because every other country thought in our neighborhood that the military power is with China, soft power is with India, and therefore the money had to be put in Chinese boxes, which is not the case anymore. We are the fourth largest economy. Shortly will become third largest economy. As far as firepower is concerned, we are quite fast and very close to being what the Chinese are. And I think that, and naval power, I would dare to say that we are much stronger than any other resident power in the Indian Ocean lane.
We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha, retired. Thank you for joining us, ex-Chief of Integrated Defence Staff. Thank you for putting that into perspective for us. Now, still to come here on DD India News Hour. 4-day meeting of United Nations Conference on Trade and Development opens in Geneva. Slovenia hosts Med9 Summit, discussion on current European topics and challenges in the region.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Now it's lights, laughter and limitless joy across the globe as Diwali, the festival of lights, illuminated hearts and horizons from Shanghai to Sydney. Here's how the world joined in the celebrations of India's most radiant festival.
Celebrations erupted across continents as Diwali lit up skies and spirits worldwide. From Asia to the Europe, the Festival of Lights was marked with grandeur, color and cultural splendor. In Shanghai, the Consulate General of India and the Indian Association hosted the region's largest ever Diwali celebration with over 800 guests joining for Lakshmi Puja, cultural performances and a feast of Indian delicacies that won hearts across communities. In Japan, the Indian embassy turned festive cheer into melody with music, dance, quizzes, and fireworks lighting up the night sky as the Indian diaspora celebrated together. Across Sri Lanka, Diwali joy resonated through dance, music, and cuisine as President Anura Kumara Dissanayake extended warm greetings to the Indian community. Taking to social media platform X, he wrote, and I quote, "On this blessed Deepavali, my warmest wishes to all Hindus in Sri Lanka and abroad. As lamps are lit in every home, we pray that this festival's light dispels the darkness in our hearts and illuminates our collective path. This celebration of good over evil mirrors our government's resolve to defeat the threats to our nation's progress, from drug abuse to extremism. We are committed to building a safe, just, and thriving nation where every individual's freedom and dignity are preserved." Meanwhile, Dubai sparkled brighter than ever. Streets, markets, and landmarks dazzled with lights and decor as residents and visitors soaked in the festive spirit. UAE Prime Minister and Dubai's ruler, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, conveyed his Diwali wishes, celebrating the triumph of light over darkness. In a statement, he said, and I quote, "Warmest wishes and greetings to those celebrating Diwali in the UAE and around the world. May this festival of lights bring peace, safety, and prosperity to you and your loved ones. Happy Diwali." Meanwhile, the Australian High Commission hosted a vibrant celebration, calling it a celebration to remember. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese too shared his heartfelt Diwali greetings.
I wish everyone a very happy Diwali. As you gather to celebrate the great Festival of Lights, may this special time uplift you with hope for a bright future. May it be an absolutely wonderful celebration.
Global leaders joined in, celebrating Diwali's universal message of hope, renewal, and positivity. New Zealand's Prime Minister Christopher Luxon extended warm wishes to all celebrating the Festival of Lights.
Happy Diwali, everyone, as families and friends come together all across New Zealand to celebrate the Festival of Lights. I want to take a moment to acknowledge what this time represents. Of course, it is about the triumph of light over darkness, hope over despair, and good over evil. It's also a time to reflect, to reconnect, and to spread happiness and positivity in our lives, and the world needs a lot of that. So I'm wishing you and all of your loved ones a wonderful Diwali and a prosperous year ahead. Happy Diwali.
United Nations also wished Indians Happy Diwali. In a post on X, the Global Bloc said, and I quote, "During Diwali, the festival of lights celebrated in India and by followers of many faiths around the world. Clay lamps are symbolically lit. We wish a happy and safe Diwali to all those celebrating." From temples to towers, from hearts to horizons, Diwali once again proved that light knows no borders. As the world glows in festive joy, the spirit of Diwali shines brighter than ever. Amish Mahajan's report for DD India.
Well, Yogesh Sheetal is joining us from Mumbai, and we are also joined from Jammu by Ankush Sharma. Thank you, both of you, for being with us. So let's get a feel of what the festivity is. Yogesh, how has Mumbai been lit up for Diwali, and how has it lifted the people's mood?
Happy Diwali, Mark. Happy Diwali, Ankush. Happy Diwali, everyone. Our listeners. See, coming to Maharashtra cultural landscape involves, Pahara, Mumbai, Nashik, and Pune. Apart from that, coming particularly this year, we have seen a tremendous change in the pattern of celebrating Diwali. Because yes, Diwali is much awaited festivals in Mumbai and Maharashtra. But this time, what we have seen, you can see behind me, this Harghar Swadeshi, Gharghar Swadeshi. This is basically a clarion call given by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, just giving a special thrust to ensure that the local markets, the small businesses, MSME sector, and also the local artisans, basically the Make in India and the way that India is aspiring to be the developed country through Atmanirbhar, Bharat, a self-reliant state. So we have seen this time all the pockets of Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, different pockets of Maharashtra. We have seen this is the initiative that has been carried forward very aggressively by the people's participation. So all the streets which are completely lit up, whether it is Shivaji Park or Ville Parle or Ghat Kopar. This time I'm in Navi Mumbai, Panvel. You can see behind me the entire, the entire stretch has been lit up, and the people with their family, with their fans, they are assembling here. They are celebrating the joy and festivity all around the corner.
Right.
So this time, definitely not in Mumbai, but also all pockets of Maharashtra is celebrating with the joy, and that particular message that I was giving you. This is that Hargar Swadeshi and Hargar Swadeshi. This was the Make in India step that differentiates this Diwali from all the previous Diwalis at this point in time. Back to you.
Indeed. Ankush, from Jammu, what's the theme for this year's Diwali like, the celebrations there in Jammu, and how much business? Yogesh was telling us about the local markets and the MSMEs. What's the business like, for the local markets in Jammu?
Yes, first of all, happy Diwali to you. And here in Jammu, Diwali is being celebrated with enthusiasm and devotion. And since morning, people were staying, buying candles, diyas, and celebrating Diwali and buying sweets from the markets. And right now, you can hear behind me, there is a high of crackers is there, and people are celebrating this Diwali is very enthusiastically. This Diwali is very different from previous one because this time Operation Sindoor is there, and successfully Operation Sindoor was conducted by our security forces. So people of Jammu and Kashmir is truly dedicating this Diwali to our security forces. As you asked about the businesses, after deduction in GST and after reforms in GST, people are very happy in Jammu and Kashmir because they are now getting things in their homes on very cheaper prices. So there is a huge impact of GST reforms in this Diwali, so which makes this Diwali is very special. And on the other side, successful Operation Sindoor is there. So this time the celebration is double. And one more thing I want to mention here, people in Jammu are celebrating Choti Diwali today because of lot of confusion is there. Is Diwali today or tomorrow? So people here in Jammu celebrating Choti Diwali today, and they will celebrate the actual Diwali tomorrow.
Okay, we leave it there. Thank you very much, Ankush and Yogesh. Thank you for joining us, and happy Diwali to both of you once again. Now moving on to our next story. Trade ministers and delegates from 195 countries opened a 4-day UNCTAD conference in Geneva on Monday. This is amid global trade disruptions and budget concerns. The meeting it was called by UNCTAD Secretary General Rebecca Greenspan, and it comes as she announced her candidacy for the post of UN Secretary General. Now, the talks, they take place in a volatile trade climate following a sudden rise in US tariffs that have the tariffs, and this sudden rise has strained relations with many global South countries. Leaders of Mediterranean EU states, including the French President Emmanuel Macron and the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, gathered in Slovenia on Monday as part of Med9. The EU leaders were joined by Jordan's King Abdullah II and his heir, Crown Prince Hussein, as well as the EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Now, climate change, migration, energy, connectivity, and the situation in the Middle East or West Asia are among the agenda for this discussion at this meeting. The group, this group was established to promote closer cooperation and coordination on current issues with the European Union and the Mediterranean region. Still to come here on DD India News Hour. We'll have a discussion with an expert on the impact of the US-China trade war, which is intensifying.
Indian industries are facing pressure because of President Trump's tariff threats.
Even tariffs are part of the story, actually. If you were to look at the whole story of the deindustrialization of India, it began in many ways under the British rule. They say, oh, It's not our fault. India fell behind because you missed the bus for the Industrial Revolution. My answer is we missed the bus is because you threw us under its wheels.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Mark Lynn. Here's a recap of our main stories. Prime Minister Modi celebrates Diwali aboard the INS Vikrant, and he salutes the armed forces and Atmanirbhar Bharat. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese visits the White House for his first visit since Donald Trump's re-election. Amazon Web Services are recovering from a major outage. The root cause was traced to US East 1 region. AWS outage affects major websites and apps globally. The Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese held talks with the US President Donald Trump at the White House for the first time since Trump assumed his second term. They have signed an agreement on rare earths and critical minerals at the White House. Now, Trump said that this agreement had been negotiated over 4 to 5 months. And the top US officials last week had condemned Beijing's expansion of rare earth export controls as a threat to global supply chains. China is the world's biggest producer, as we know, of these materials, and they are vital materials for products ranging from electric vehicles to aircraft engines to military radars. The two leaders will also discuss trade, submarines and military equipment. The Trump administration is reviewing the $239.46 billion AUKUS agreement reached in 2023 under the then President Joe Biden, in which Australia is to buy US nuclear-powered submarines in 2032 before building a new submarine class with Britain. Well, as the US-China trade war intensifies, soybeans and rare earths have emerged as the flashpoints in the high-stakes geopolitical standoff, with China halting American soybean imports and tightening control over rare earth exports. President Trump has responded with sharp rhetoric and strategic pressure. The upcoming Trump-Xi meeting in South Korea could be pivotal, but allies remain wary of a fallout because, meanwhile, farmers are reeling from economic strain as well as global supply chains. They are bracing for impact. Here's the report. China imports 61% of global soybeans. The US once sent 31% of its crop there. Used in feed and oil, soybeans are strategic. In response to US tariffs, China stopped buying from the US, turning to Brazil and Argentina instead. US farmers now face low prices, high costs, and drought-driven hardship.
One of the things I want is China's going to buy soybeans. I want China to stop with the fentanyl. Very, normal things. I don't want them to play the rare earth game with us.
But you want them to, but do you think they will make a deal on soybeans?
I do believe, because otherwise I'm not going to make a deal. No, I want them to buy. Our farmers have been boycotted by China as a negotiating point. I don't want that. Our farmers are great, and in particular our soybean farmers, and I want them to start buying soybeans at least in the amount that they were buying before. And I believe they'll be able to do that.
China produces 70% of rare earths and processes 90%, giving it global control. The US says China uses this as trade leverage. Trump warned of national security risks. China now restricts items with over 0.1% rare earth magnets, even if made abroad, affecting electronics, EVs, and machinery. Exporters need Chinese approval, adding global compliance hurdles.
And so you see many of the allies sort of caught in a trap where they both want the US and China to come to some kind of deal, but they're all very concerned about their exposure to the consequences of that deal, because I think the general perception is Donald Trump, the Trump administration in Washington, is out for itself. It is America first.
China's economy grew 4.8% year-on-year in Q3, with quarterly growth at 1.1% beating forecasts. Momentum is fading due to property woes, weak spending and trade tensions. The Trump-Xi meeting at the APEC summit in South Korea October 29 to November 1 is still scheduled, despite tariff and export disputes. The summit may mark a shift in US-China ties. Bureau Report, DD India. Well, Professor Manoj Pant, economist and former director of the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, is with us. Happy Diwali, Professor Pant. Now, can China tag items with 0.1% rare earths? Is it even feasible?
It's not really the 0.1%. You know, the issue is really not just the rare earths. It's just that somehow, I don't know, maybe they were far thinking, they actually have worked out the best way of processing rare earths. It's not as if no one else has rare earth, but no one else processes them. I think 80% of processing happens in China. So first of all, I don't see how they will work out 0.01%, 0.02. I think it's very simple. They will not export rare earth to any country which they are having a major trade fight, which is the US, and that's basically it. And they will open it to others, and with others they will also use that rare earth as a bargaining thing, that if you work it out, if you work at something with USA on this, then we will not take this player. So it's a simple case of using the back, supply chain effect on the back. So yes, you can implement, but it's not 0.01 is just a number, right?
Okay.
They will not export it all.
Fine. But, how quickly can other geographies develop competence to supply rare earths? We just know that the Australians and the US have got together. Australia, Brazil, Canada all seem to have potential. Russia probably has potential.
From whatever I've read, even if you have the rare earths, the processing of the rare earth to convert it into the kind of electronic things like magnets that you need can take a couple of years. But I don't think you are only looking at China on the supply side. Remember, and I think I wrote that article today in the Express or something, you see, China has a big problem. They are suffering for a very severe demand recession. They don't have enough people, their population is declining too. Well, it's not rising. Secondly, they've all invested in real estate, and the real estate is really bleeding right now. So they're trying to boost consumer demand, but they don't have enough domestic consumer demand. So what are they doing? They have to export. What are they trying to do? If not US, they'll export elsewhere. But the other countries have their own problems. Like we are not letting Chinese goods because of our own domestic industry. So remember, it's a question of who blinks first. Why is this so important for China? Because if the export compression lasts too long and recession domestically lasts too long, then their own political system may not survive. Because their political system depends on delivering economic benefits through the export market. That's how it's been working. Remember in 1980, China was nowhere.
Right.
Today, they're the second largest economy in terms of global demand. If they've gone to something, obviously people on the ground have gained a lot. Now the process will reverse. So they've got to be able to keep that demand going. The Europeans don't have enough demand.
Indeed.
Neither do we. Nor are we going to let the exports come to us. What about our own sector? Same problem. So it's a kind of who blinks first.
True. But if we look at it between the US and China, since it's a trade war, let's see, the US doesn't seem to be on a strong wicket. I mean, it appears that way. China doesn't need the soya beans that the US is trying to push on it. And the US definitely needs Chinese rare earths. So what more can the US do?
No, US can do one thing. Remember one thing, the Chinese also need the US demand. Question is, how long will the internal system survive? Same thing. It's a very interesting game. Same thing. How long can Trump avoid the effect? So Trump is concerned not just about rare earths. Believe me, let me mention one thing about rare earths. I think China is making a mistake. Same thing the Middle East countries did in the 70s. Within 10 years or 8 years, people found alternative to oil in terms of either conservation or big cars or insulation. And remember, let me give you one number in case your viewers don't know. In 1979, the price of oil was $32 a barrel. In 91, it came down to $12 a barrel in nominal terms. Think of how much real wealth was lost by the Middle East. Because problem is technology today, it will replace even what seemed to be exhausting resources. Today we have not. We have hydrogen coming up, solar coming up, we've got battery stuff going on. So oil is no longer a weapon, so they have to be careful that they don't let the pricing or the scarcity become so high that people start finding an alternative method of. That's China's worry.
Right.
US's worry is how long can they keep that technological superiority which cannot exist without the rare earths.
Okay.
So it's a game of who blinks first.
True.
I believe the Chinese will blink first.
Now there are still 10 days to go for the Trump-Xi meeting. But what's likely to happen before that? I mean, will one of them compromise? Yeah, you talked about who's going to blink first.
I can guarantee one thing. They both know it's a question of, if you don't mind my use of Hindi, मैं मरूंगा तो तुम भी मरोगे. It's very simple. It's a mutually destructive game. Neither wants it. Trump doesn't want to disappear either. Neither does Xi. Xi will have internal problems. Trump has internal inflation problems. I'm pretty certain they will work out a deal. They did this in 2016-20, where the US said import $300 billion, and China said, okay, we will. China imported some, US elected some tariffs. They will do the same thing again. They will come to an agreement because Trump has made his theater done. His theater part is over. He's done all the drama on theater and Trump. Now the reality, you know something, I was there in that country last year, there for a long time. Yes. Actually, on ground, even on immigration, the ICE guys have been told to go slow because own consumer people are saying, if the workers stop coming, who will work in our shops?
Absolutely, yes.
Who will work in the farm? So how long can he hold out the domestic pressures? And how long can that? So it's a question of who holds out the domestic pressures. I believe the long-term loss is much more to Xi. Why? Because if Xi goes, there'll be chaos.
Right.
Okay. So Trump goes, so what? Someone else will come.
Indeed. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Professor Manoj Pant, economist and former director of the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. Thank you for putting that into context for us. Our next story, South Korea's Coast Guard is stepping up security ahead of the APEC Summit 2025 by inspecting the Bomun Lake, which is located in the heart of the Bomun Tourist Complex. On Monday, in fact, special teams used boats, divers and underwater scanners to check for threats. The summit is set for October 31st to November 1st at Bonam and Hwabaek Convention Center, and it's likely to feature a key meeting between the US President Donald Trump and the Chinese President Xi Jinping amid the rising trade tensions. Authorities are boosting patrols and surveillance to prevent terror threats and illegal activity. The lake check is part of a wider push to ensure safety for the world leaders and the guests. In Japan, the conservative leader Sanae Takaichi is set to become Japan's first woman prime minister on Tuesday. This comes after the Japan Innovation Party, which is a right-wing opposition group, they have announced their support for her leadership. Along with the Japan Innovation Party, Takaichi's governing Liberal Democratic Party holds a combined 231 seats in Parliament's dominant lower house. The new coalition member is too short of a majority, but the tally is almost certain enough. It's enough for her to become the Prime Minister, to win Tuesday's parliamentary vote to become the next Prime Minister. Takaichi said that she was looking forward to working with Ishin to strengthen Japan's economy and also to ensure a better future for the next generations of Japanese. And she stated after signing a coalition agreement in Tokyo.
It is now thanks to the remarkable efforts of Mr. Yoshimura and Mr. Fujita, all members of the Japan Innovation Party, as well as the cooperation of my fellow parliamentarians and the executives of the LDP, that we have been able to conclude and sign this policy agreement. I consider this a very significant step forward. From this moment onward, we will work tirelessly to drive Japan forward.
Russia and the United States are said to be in a serious discussion over the possible peace deal that could take place in Ukraine. The Kremlin has announced that Budapest will soon host a summit between Presidents Trump and President Putin. But what's at stake? Abhishek Bose reports.
Russia says it's engaged in serious talks with the United States to seek a peace deal in Ukraine. But Moscow accuses Kyiv of sending mixed signals, complicating the process. The Kremlin has announced that Budapest will host an upcoming summit between Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump, citing Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban's close ties with both leaders. Orban, a frequent critic of Western support for Ukraine, has long positioned Hungary at odds with the European mainstream. Some European governments say it's inappropriate for an EU member state to host Putin, who faces an arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court. Hungary, notably, is in the process of leaving the ICC.
Regarding Budapest, no, it's not nice. I mean, to see that really a person put to the arrest warrant by the ICC is coming to a European country. Russia only negotiates when they are put under pressure, so we hope that also President Trump does that.
Meanwhile, reports suggest Trump pressed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky last week to consider ceding territory to Russia, an idea that reportedly left the Ukrainian side frustrated. Trump denies asking Ukraine to hand over all of Donbas, but he has suggested the region remain divided along current battle lines.
What do you think should happen with the Donbas region then?
Let it be cut the way it is. It's cut up right now. I think 78% of the land is already taken by Russia. You leave it the way it is right now. They can negotiate something later on down the line. But I said, cut and stop at the battle line, go home, stop fighting, stop killing people.
At the same time, Ukraine says it's striking Russian oil refineries almost daily. Zelensky told Trump in Washington that Kyiv has thousands of drones ready for an offensive, but urgently needs US missiles. Trump has not ruled out sending Tomahawk missiles, but struck a cautious tone ahead of his meeting with Vladimir Putin in Hungary. Abhishek Bose for DD India.
The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met on Monday with the US envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. The meeting came after weekend violence threatened to wreck a fragile US-brokered ceasefire in Gaza. The Israeli spokesperson in the Prime Minister's office stated that the US Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife were due to visit Israel for a few days and will be meeting the Prime Minister.
This time, Prime Minister Netanyahu met earlier today with Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and President Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner on the developments and updates in the region. Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife, Second Lady Usha Vance, will also be visiting Israel for a few days and will be meeting with the Prime Minister.
Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir on Monday called for the enactment of a law which allows the death penalty for those convicted of terrorism. As Israel's parliament opened its winter session, Ben-Gvir urged the Prime Minister Netanyahu to resume intense military operations in Gaza and dismantle Hamas. Amazon's cloud services unit, AWS, was struggling to recover on Monday from a widespread outage that knocked out thousands of websites along with some of the world's most popular apps and disrupted business globally. The turmoil marked the largest internet disruption since last year's CrowdStrike malfunction, hobbled technology systems in hospitals, banks and airports, as well as highlights the vulnerability of the world's interconnected technologies. After more than 6 hours of disruptions, some applications were gradually coming back online as of 1400 GMT. But AWS acknowledged that it's still experiencing elevated errors. In Nepal, Kukur Tihar was celebrated on Monday as the Neba community, they marked their New Year with traditional festivities and cultural processions. People in Nepal celebrate Kukur Tihar. They honor the bond between humans and dogs as part of the 5-day Tihar festival. Now, the day also marked Lakshmi Puja in many homes, with devotees worshipping the goddess of wealth. The Neva community celebrated their new year with musical processions as well as traditional Bhailo songs across Kathmandu. From the glow of diyas to the rhythm of Bhangra beats, the Diwali spirit shines bright in New Zealand, a reminder of how Indian traditions get carried with us even thousands of miles from home. Our correspondent Soma Sharma takes us through the celebrations.
Across continents and cultures, Diwali has continued to illuminate hearts. A festival that carries light to the farthest corners of the world. Here in Wellington, hundreds have gathered under this very same spirit of Diwali. Let's take a look. Wellington celebrates Diwali in true Indian style. The festivities started with the traditional lamp lighting by the Indian High Commissioner, New Zealand Finance Minister and leader of opposition. It was followed by some enchanting performances that left the audiences completely awestruck. From bustling local Indian markets, food stall shops, and a luminous firework, the Indian diaspora and Kiwi locals embraced the spirit of Diwali. We have with us Nicola Willis, the Minister of Finance here in New Zealand. Hi Nicola, firstly love your outfit. You're here at the Diwali celebration. How was the experience of, drenching yourself in the Diwali spirit, surrounded by love, warmth, colors, and the whole community spirit? How has the experience been?
Well, look, this is a wonderful, joyful, hopeful time when our community comes together, a celebration. And it's wonderful in Wellington to see the diversity of our cultural traditions on display and to see Wellingtonians of all different backgrounds celebrating the Diwali tradition. So with food, with dance, with entertainment, and a very special day for.
Definitely, that's amazing. And how do you think, festivals like Diwali has been fostering deeper sense of harmony between the two countries and severing the cultural tie?
I think they help Wellingtonians appreciate the different backgrounds that have brought us here to New Zealand. And we're very fortunate that we celebrate many people from India. And they keep their culture alive when they come here. They share that with the wider community. And that diversity makes us stronger and makes us a special place because we have all sorts of traditions that intertwine to make us the special place.
It was another amazing event. Diwali in New Zealand is always a very special time. I think for all New Zealanders, a celebration of light over darkness and hope over fear. There's so much that brings us together around Diwali, and it's also an opportunity to celebrate that huge contribution that Indian New Zealanders bring to Aotearoa.
As the light of Diwali continues to bridge distances, what it reflects the most is the timeless triumph of light over darkness. This is Soumya Sharma from Wellington for DD India.
Well, across Australia, Diwali has gone truly mainstream, lighting up cities from Melbourne to Sydney. With vibrant dances, music and fireworks, the festival brings together people of all backgrounds to celebrate light, hope and unity. Nazia Alvi reports.
Diwali, once a festival celebrated within community halls, has now gone truly mainstream across Australia. From city landmarks to regional councils, the Festival of Lights is illuminating every corner of the nation.
It's an amazing event in Canberra, celebrating the beautiful festival of light overcoming darkness and the community getting together. It's such a privilege to be here, and thank you to everyone, to CIC for this beautiful event.
With 1 million Australians of Indian ancestry, the Indian diaspora has become Australia's second largest overseas-born community and one of the fastest growing. That growth is reflected in the scale of Diwali celebrations this year, from Melbourne's Federation Square to Castle Hill Showground in Sydney, and even regional parliaments and councils hosting community events. Across the country, Australians got a glimpse of India with cultural performances, featuring classical dance, Bollywood numbers and music filling open-air venues. In suburbs from Permata to Point Cook, Indian shops were abuzz, selling diyas, Lakshmi idols, marigold flowers and sweets.
Shubh Diwali, my name is Saskia Maven. I'm here in Canberra and this is my very first Diwali. I know it's all about light succeeding over darkness and enjoying prosperity and fun with your family and friends. There's going to be lots of good food, lots of dancing, a little bit of magic, and we'll see what else. I'll let you know at the end of the night.
The fragrance of incense and the sparkle of lamps turned shopping strips into mini India, drawing crowds from every background. Saturday night ended with spectacular fireworks displays across Australian cities, a fitting symbol for a festival that celebrates light, hope, and togetherness.
Once celebrated quietly in the living rooms of first-generation migrants, Diwali in Australia has today transformed into a nationwide celebration of light, belonging and shared identity. From local parks to iconic landmark buildings, Diwali now shines bright all across Australia. Each light, each diya tells a story of hope and heritage. This is Nafi Albi Rahman wishing you all a very happy Diwali from Canberra, Australia.
Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. And for those of you on the go, get the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code and download it now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Mark Lynn. From all of us here in Delhi, thank you very much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar and Happy Diwali.